Hello, myself Shomrat Paul. Presently, I am working as an assistant professor in the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, formerly known as TPE Department, at Swami Vivekananda Institute of Science and Technology. This is my first lecture session through which we are going to demonstrate the thyristor in detail, its working principle, its construction, and the VI characteristic. But before going into my first session, we should know what is the difference between uncontrolled switch and controlled switch. Previously, we have studied about uncontrolled rectifier or uncontrolled converter, which was normally designed by uncontrolled switches. The good example is diode. But from this lecture session onward, I am more focused to implement the uncontrolled switches for converter circuits. So, in case of diode, we all know about it, the characteristics of the ideal diode, that is, the diode starts working from 0 degree to 180 degree for positive half cycle and it stops conducting to the negative half cycle, that is 180 degree to 360 degree. At the same time, we cannot control the conduction angle between 0 degree to 180 degree. Whereas the control switches like thyristors, GTOs, transistors, MOSFETs, IGBTs and so on, they all are behaving like a diode, means it starts conducting from 0 degree to 180 degree and stops conducting between 180 degree to 360 degree. But unlike a diode, it cannot conduct 0 degree to 180 degree in forward half cycle unless until we are not applying any triggering pulse. So what is triggering pulse? That will be discussed later. But try to understand it. In case of the control switches, we can control the overall conduction time between 0 degree to 180 degree, whereas in case of diode, we cannot control it. That is why when the control switches are used to design for converter circuits, the output voltage and the current of the converter can easily be regulated as well as controlled. That is why for drive application, any other application for industry purpose, the controlled converter are very much used apart from uncontrolled converter. Now, we are going to discuss about thyristor. First is construction. Actually, thyristor is a solid state device or semiconductor switch, just like a transistor, as well as the characteristics is similar to thyratron tube. That is why the name stands for thyristor. It has another name also, that is SCR or silicon controlled rectifier. Actually, as a previous discussion, we can say thyristor is a control switch and its operation just like a rectifier, and that to be controlled. And for construction purpose, normally the silicon is used as a dopant. That is why this is well named by SCR or silicon control rectifier. Now construction. Let me draw the diagram first. This is normally constructed by 4 layers, that is P, N, P, N, and 3 junctions J1, J2 and J3, and 3 terminals, that is anode, cathode and gate. In case of forward biasing condition, we must say the anode is more positive with respect to cathode. We cannot say anode is positive and cathode is negative. Here the concept is different. We must say anode is more positive with respect to cathode. Then we can say the device is under forward biasing condition. And the symbol of this device, which can be represented by this way. This is anode, this is cathode and this is gate. Okay. To be more detailed, the structure can be drawn in this way. This is gate terminal, this is cathode terminal, this is aluminum normally constructed by, this is anode normally constructed by aluminum, 3 junctions J1, J2 and this is J3, and 4 layers, that is P, N, P and N. So from this structure we can say the cathode is located near the gate terminal and the cathode is connected to bottommost N region, this one, which must be highly doped with respect to other layers, and the anode will have more space and which is normally constructed by aluminum path. That is why it can provide low impedance. And one more important thing, the total structure can be supported by this mechanism which is called threaded stud. Normally it is used to tightening the total structure as well as for high level or high voltage application. Somehow it is working as a heat sink by the help of a proper nut. The thyristor has high power handling capacity. The SCR's voltage ratings near about 10 kilovolt and the RMS current rating about 3000 ampere and power handling capacity, that is 30 megawatt. That means this kind of power switch is very much useful for high power application, for industrial purpose. So before going to plot the VI characteristics of this typical type of switch, first we need to know the normal working principle. Now see this figure. when the anode is more positive with respect to cathode, then a current tries to flow in the forward direction. In this case, across the junction J1, as the current tries to flow P to N junction, and across the junction J3, as the current tries to flow from P to N direction, that is why junction J1 and junction J3 both are in forward biasing condition. But in case of junction J2, as the current tries to flow from N to P region, that is why junction J2 is behaving like a reversed bias junction. That is why there is a tendency to formation of a depletion layer. That is why initially when the anode is having a small amount of voltage with respect to cathode, then a depletion layer is formed across the junction J2. If we are increasing the anode voltage with respect to cathode, then the width of the depletion layer will be decreased, because few amount of charges from the P layer, that is normally defined by holes, and for N layer, that is normally defined by electrons, and it is holes. That means once the anode is positive biased with respect to cathode, then the anode will be pulled the hole will be pulled by the anode terminal, and the electron will be pulled from lower cathode as it is negative biased with respect to anode. That is why easily try to move in this direction and this direction. That is why once we are increasing the anode voltage with respect to cathode, then the width of the depletion layer should be decreases. And once we are applied the huge amount of anode voltage with respect to cathode, then due to avalanche breakdown of the majority carriers, then the junction J2 will be vanished. That means there is no barrier to oppose the anode current which try to flow from anode to cathode terminal. Then the current starts conducting easily from anode to cathode in this direction. So this all can be done without application of the gate pulse. So we can plot this VI characteristics by using a proper circuit. So let me draw the circuit first. So this is a circuit diagram through which we can present the VI characteristics. This is supply voltage E, which is connected to a variable resistance or rheostat, through which we are giving the supply voltage to the SCR. This part is anode, this part is cathode, this is suppose gate terminal and connected here. And gate is also connected to a switch to a variable resistance and to another source for gate triggering. This is load. Okay. So this is the schematic diagram through which we can plot the VI characteristics of thyristor. Okay. In which this is VA means thyristor voltage across anode to cathode. This is current IA or the SCR current, which can be controlled by using this variable resistance or variac. That means we can change the supply voltage across the SCR gradually when the switch is open for the gate terminal. That means whenever you are going to place the VI characteristics of thyristor, keep it in your mind that all the cases the gate is opened. So first consider two axes, that is VA or anode voltage, which is taken from the diagram, that is IA or anode current taken from the diagram. So it should be minus IA and it should be minus VA. Actually, it has three modes of operation. Number one, forward blocking mode. Number two, forward conduction mode. And number three, reverse blocking mode. As we know from the constructional features, when the anode is more positive with respect to cathode, then the depletion layer has formed across the reverse bias junction J2. As we know, in this case, the junction J1 and J3 both are in forward biasing condition. That is why small amount of reverse leakage current try to flow throughout the device. Okay? So it can be more clear by using this figure. Suppose this is the internal structure of the thyristor. This is anode, this is cathode. Just we had discussed before, that is gate. Okay, there is junction J1, J2 and the junction J3, that is 4 layers PN, PN. I mean to say you that when the anode is more positive with respect to cathode and when the anode current try to flow in this way, then the junction J1 and the junction J3 both are in forward biasing condition, but the junction J2 is in reverse biasing condition. That is why initially a small amount of leakage current starts flowing throughout the device, but the device still is in off state or blocking state. That is why we can draw this phenomena by this axis. It has started from this one up to a point. There is a very small amount of leakage current starts flowing. This is the amount of leakage current. But when we are increasing the biasing voltage, means the anode is more positive with respect to cathode, and after few time, by gradually increment of the anode voltage, when the voltage will reach to a critical value or maximum value which is defined by VBO, which is called actually breakover voltage, then the thyristor can be in on state. Once the thyristor fired or thyristor is in on state, then small increment of the anode voltage, the anode current rises rapidly. Then it will be behaving like this one. Okay? So what happened? I repeat. In this particular region, when we are applied the anode voltage below breakover voltage, then due to presence of reverse biasing junction across junction J2, small amount of leakage current starts flowing, then the device is under blocking state. That is why this region is called the first mode operation or forward blocking mode. After certain time, again when we are increasing the anode voltage to a particular level and just we are crossing the value, that is VBO or the critical amount of voltage, then the device can be turned on as the junction J2, the reversed bias junction J2 can be vanished by avalanche breakdown. That is why then the current starts flowing throughout the device and it increases rapidly with small increment of supply voltage. So how can it possible? In some book it can be added by some dotted line like this. So how can it possible? See, think about any switch for domestic purpose. Okay, when the switch is closed or the switch is on, then some load is in working state. Maybe the fan is moving, maybe the light is glowing. That means what? That means the voltage is appeared across load. No voltage is appearing across switch. Then the switch is working as a short circuit. That is why the current is rapidly increased, but the voltage appearing across the switch is negligible. This is reflected on this particular state. That is why this is called conduction state or forward conduction mode. Now think about when the switch is open or the switch is off, then what happens? Then the fan is not moving in your house or the light is not glowing. That means what? Then the total supply voltage is appearing across this particular switch. No voltage is appearing across the load. That is why the load is not working. This can be reflected on this particular region. That means here, as the blocking state is there, that is why the device is not conducting, the total voltage is appeared across the device or across anode to cathode terminal. When we are applied the voltage and just cross the breakover voltage VBO, then the device is under on state. That is why the voltage falls as the switch is working as a short circuit. That is why no voltage is appearing across switch. There is a very small amount of voltage is there and the current is increased rapidly and sharply with small change of the supply voltage. But there is a small amount of voltage drop is there. That is called actually on state voltage drop or forward voltage drop. And that can be done for 4 layers and 3 junctions. As the PN junction has its resistivity, by considering the 4 layers and 3 junctions, the small amount of voltage drop can be occurred during conduction time. That is why this is called forward voltage drop. And this is a leakage amount of current very small in magnitude that can be occurred in case of the blocking state. As the junction J2 is reverse biasing condition, that is a small amount of leakage current starts flowing when the thyristor was not in on state. Okay, fine. So this is all about for the forward conduction mode. That means this graph is actually defined for forward conduction mode. This is actually forward conduction mode. And this is actually for forward blocking mode. Okay, last is that is reverse blocking mode. So go through the basic construction first. This circuit diagram. In case of reverse biasing mode, what happened? So let me erase this part. Okay. That means it will be junction J1 and that is junction J2, that is P layer. So what happened? In reverse biasing condition, we can say the cathode is more positive with respect to anode. That means then current try to flow from cathode to anode due to movement of the majority carriers across the all layers. In this particular case C, when the current try to flow from K to A terminal, that means this NP region is reverse biasing condition, as well as this NP region is reverse biasing condition. But whereas this region are in forward biasing condition. That means we can say when the device is under reverse biasing condition, then J2 is under forward biasing condition, whereas J1 and J3 both are in reverse biasing condition. That means it provides the depletion layer across junction J1 and J3 for both cases. That is why if we are trying to increase rapidly the cathode voltage with respect to anode to make the avalanche breakdown across junction J1 and J3, which is not required for reverse biasing condition, whatever, then what happen? Then the huge amount of voltage can be appear across cathode to anode. Once the junction J1 and J3 can be avalanche breakdown, then what happen? Inrush of current try to flow in opposite direction throughout the device. That provides huge amount of loss, and which is converted to a huge amount of heat. And due to production of huge amount of heat, the junction J1 and the junction J3 can be permanently damaged. That means the switch can be permanently damaged. That is why this phenomena can be reflected on the VI characteristics also. In the initial case, when the cathode is more positive with respect to cathode, or we can say the device is under reverse biasing condition, then small amount of leakage current starts flowing due to presence of reverse bias junction J3 and J1. If under any circumstances or the application of the huge amount of reverse biasing condition, if the junction J1 and J3 can be vanished, then a inrush of current is flowing throughout the reverse biasing junction. This is called actually reverse leakage current, or this is actually called the reverse current. This is not applicable for the reverse biasing condition. It provides a huge amount of heat as the huge amount of voltage is appearing across cathode to anode, as well as the current is inrush of current starts flowing from cathode terminal to anode terminal. That is why the loss is increased with a higher value, as well as it provides a huge amount of heat, and the junction J1, J3 is permanently damaged, means the switch is permanently damaged. That is why this is called reverse blocking voltage, and at which the avalanche can occur across two junctions J1 and J3. This is called VBR, or it can be said by reverse breakover voltage, whereas VBO is forward breakover voltage. So reverse breakdown voltage, and this is called reverse blocking state, and this characteristics is called the reverse characteristics. So this is, we can say, this is reverse breakdown voltage, this is, and this curve can be said by reverse blocking mode. That means we can easily identify, in case of VI characteristics, there is a three mode of operations, that is forward conduction mode, this one forward blocking mode, and reverse blocking mode. Okay, so this is all about for the turn on process. Now think about the turn off process. Thyristor can be turned off by reducing the anode current below holding current. What does it mean? Suppose at the point at which, when the breakover voltage is appeared across anode, when the device starts conducting in a particular point, then this is defined by this current is suppose I BO, or the current appeared due to presence of breakover voltage VBO. Okay, but what happened? Suppose when the thyristor is just turned on and we are reducing the anode voltage or biasing, we are reducing the biasing, then the thyristor can be switched off immediately. Okay, that means we can say the thyristor is not properly in under conduction state. If we can hold this voltage for few times, then the anode current which will reach to a particular value which is defined by IL or latching current, then we can say the thyristor is perfectly in on state. Okay, that means leakage, that means latching current. That is why somehow we can say now the device is under latching condition. That means the device is under on state. Okay, that means IBO is not the exact amount of current for conduction. This is not the exact amount of current up to which we cannot say the device is under working state or under conducting state. Once the device will reach automatically the above current of IL, then we can say the device is under on state. Okay, sorry. Similarly, when we are trying to switch off the device and we are reducing the anode current to a value, suppose IL, still the device is in working state or conducting state. Suppose again we are reducing the anode current, suppose up to IBO, then see the device is again in conduction state. It can be off and it can be on also. That is why this is the unpredictable behavior. Suppose again we are trying to reduce the current to a particular value below IBO, this is called actually holding current or defined by IH. If this anode current will reduced up to the value of IH or above or below IH, then we can say the switch is in under off state and we can say the all junctions are recovered. The switch is regained is blocking state. That means these two current is very important, that is IL and that is IH. So IL means that is the minimum amount of current or latching current which is normally associated with the turn conduction process, and IH means is the minimum amount of current or holding current which is normally associated for turn on process. That means IL defined by the conduction condition, IH defined by the turn on process. Okay, that is why from this graph we can say that is IL, the magnitude of IL is greater than IH. So this is an important thing. Keep it in your mind, all the cases IL or latching current should be greater than IH or holding current. And in numerical value we can say that is IL almost equal to 2 to 3 times of IH. Means its value is almost 2 to 3 times of IH. Okay. So this is all about for the VI characteristics of SCR. Thank you.